Okay guys, welcome to another video for 7A Math, and for this lesson we're going over 5.5 multiplying fraction. Okay, so you might have known how to multiply fraction from 6th grade, right? Your 6th grade teacher is supposed to teach you how to multiply fraction, and that's okay if you forgot. A lot of people forgot things during the summer break, and this is already 1 year, almost 1 year from summer break. So I don't fault you for forgetting how to multiply fraction. We'll learn it together. So let's try multiplying fraction 3 over 4 times 1 over 2. So what happens? Some of you already know how to multiply a fraction, but do you guys ever wonder what happens when we multiply fraction? What do I mean by that? Well, here we have 3 over 4. This box that is cut into four pieces and three are shaded is called 3 over 4. You can picture 3 over 4 as this box. What happens when we multiply 1/2 to that? Well, what we're actually doing is we're going to cut the box into two. Think of this as when you cut an apple into half, you get two pieces, right? Same thing. Here we cut the box into half, and now how many pieces are there in total? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 total pieces. So instead of 4, our denominator will be 8. And what else? Well, we're also, since you can see that our shaded part also became more, the thing is we're only going to pick half of them. So instead of 6 in total, we're only picking this, this, and this part. Okay, so that means our new numerator, or our new top number, will be 3. So so when we multiply 3 over 4 by 1/2, we'll get 3 over 8. But instead of drawing it, we can get the same answer by simply multiplying 3 and 1, 3 times 1, and 4 times 2. 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 2 is 8. So far so good? Okay, so we can summarize all of that thing into two steps. Multiply the numerator with the numerator, multiply the denominator with the denominator. Or in other words, we multiply straight across. So let's have an example. Here we have 2 over 3 times 5 over 7. What will be our answer? Well, first of all, when you guys are dealing with this problem, well, I want you guys to write this as one fraction. So in the numerator, we'll have 2 times 5, and in the bottom, we'll have 3 times 7. So far, so good? And then you multiply across. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 7 is 21. So your final answer is 10 over 21. Now you might be wondering, why do this? Well, we'll get to that later. But first, let's have another example. Here we have 1/3 times 1 over 9. Again, we want to write this as one fraction, so let's say 1 times 1 and 3 times 9 in the bottom. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 9 is 27. So your final answer is 1 over 27. Now, let's go over why we need to write it as one fraction, okay? So let's have an example. Here we have 6 over 7 times 14 over 27. Again, I want you guys to first write it as one fraction. 6 times 14 over 7 times 27. Now, when you solve this problem, you have three options, okay? Option 1 is you multiply across. This is simply the oh here. So 6 times 14 over 7 times 27. 6 times 14 is, anyone? Anyone has a good guess? 6 times 14. Okay, let me bust out my calculator. 6 times 14 is 84. And 7 times 27, if I do this correctly, you'll get 189. Now, this is a pretty big fraction, right? That means we can probably simplify. So that means we can simplify this fraction even more. And that's a lot of work, right? So you find common factors, or you do the factor tree to simplify this, and all that good stuff. But what if I told you there's a better way than just multiplying it straight across? This is option 2, factor the numbers. So what does that mean? So let's write it down. Before you multiply the numbers, you're going to rewrite them as factors. So it's like factorization. So you might be wondering, what the heck is that supposed to mean? I didn't listen to my previous class. Well, here's a good way to understand them, okay? So here, let's start with 6. We want to rewrite 6 such that we're not going to write 6, but instead we're going to rewrite it as 2 and 3. Why 2 and 3? Well, if you multiply them together, you'll get 6. Not addition, okay? Multiplication. 2 times 3 is 6. So instead of 6, we'll write 2 times 3. Now we copy the multiplication. Now we do the same thing with 14. 14 is 2 times 7. So far so good? Okay, we do the same thing with the bottom numbers. Well, for 7, we leave it as is. Why? Because that's a prime number. Don't forget, prime numbers we cannot factor, okay? Now let's do it with 27. This is, let's rewrite 27 here. 27 is 3 times 9. But we can rewrite 9 as 3 times 3. Nobody is lost, right? Right? Nobody's lost. So 27 can be written as 3 times 3 times 3. So instead of 3 times 9, it's going to be 3 times 3. Now here's the best part. After you rewrite them, afterwards, cross out the number that appear on both numerator and denominator. Here's the main keyword, both numerator and denominator. Okay, so here we have 2 times 3 times 2 times 7 over 7 times 3 times 3 times 3. So as you can see, 3 and 3, let's change my pen to black. As you can see, 3 and 3 appears on both numerator and denominator, so we can cross it out. So far so good. Now can you tell me what else appears on both the numerator and denominator? It's 7. Good job. Well, let's cross them out. 7 and 7 are gone. A quick note, when we cross out numbers in this option, what we're actually doing is they don't turn to 0. They turn to 1, okay? Just a quick reminder. And then, is there anything else? No. Why not? Why can't, in your own words, can you tell me why we cannot cross this 2 and 2 out, or this 3 and 3 out? Yes, it's because both 2's appears on the numerator, and both 3's appears on the denominator. They don't appear on both the numerator and denominator, so that means we cannot cross them out. Now, we cross them out, right? Let's go back to red. Now what you do is multiply. 2 times 1 is 2, times 2 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. So we have 4 on the top. Now let's move on to the bottom numbers. 1 times 1 times 3 is 3. Times 3 is 9. So your final answer is 4 over 9. So far so good? Okay. Now, what if I tell you that option 2 is not the fastest way? Let's try option 3. Option 3 is called cross cancel or simplification. Again, so let me talk about the steps first. So first, find a number that divides a numerator and denominator. In other words, a common factor, okay? And then step 2 is divide the numbers. So first, you find a number that divides a numerator and the denominator. Second step is you divide those numbers, okay? And then third step, we multiply. So let's see these steps in action. So we have 6 over 7. Okay, I keep forgetting. Write it as one fraction, 6 times 14 on the top, and we have 7 times 27 on the bottom. Now, multiply across. Before we multiply, you're going to find a number that divides a numerator and denominator. So here, we can see that 14 and 7 can be divided by 7. That means they share a common factor of 7. For those that know, for those people that follow the lessons, 14 and 7 are common factor of 14 and 7. For those that didn't follow the lesson or just jumping in straight into multiplying a fraction, 14 and 7 can be divided by 7. Okay, that's basically it. And then step 2 is divide the numbers. So let's divide them. 14 divided by 7, let me change pen. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 7 divided by 7 is 1. And that's it. You keep repeating the steps until you can't do it anymore. Now let's try 6 and 27. Do they share a common factor? Yes. You can divide 6 and 27 by not 6, it's 3. So let's divide them. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 27 divided by 3 is 9. Anything else? Now you might be asking to yourself, why can't we cross out 2 and 2 out? Well, that's because they're both on the numerator, okay? Has to be 1 on the numerator and 1 on the bottom, denominator. One has to be on the top, one else has to be in the bottom. So in this case, we can't do anything else. And that's okay. Once you reach to this point, what you should do is simply multiply across. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 9 is 9. So your final answer is 4 over 9. And as you can see, 4 over 9, option 2 and option 3 gives you the same answer. And the best, and here's why I like either option 2 or option 3. Four over 9 is already simplified. If you do this step properly, if you do this part properly, your answer is already simplified. Same thing with this step. If you do this properly, if you cross out the numbers like pretty good, that means your answer is already simplified. You don't need to do anything else. So this is why I like either option 2 or option 3. First, it makes the things you're going to multiply become smaller, right? And then the next reason is because your answer is already simplified. You don't need to simplify it anymore. That's the best thing. Now let's go back to the first two examples. Here, can we cross out any numbers? No. So that means our answer is already simplified, 1 over 27. How about here? Can we cross out any numbers here? Or do they can we do anything else here? No. Your answer is already simplified. That's why you only see the benefits of actually writing this as one fraction when you have big fraction. However, I still want you guys to have a habit of writing the fraction as this, such that you recall the steps, or you remember, oh, there's a better way than just multiplying across. So let's try another example. Here we have option 2 or option 3. Here we have 6 over 77 times 7 over 8. You can use either option 2 or option 3. Let's try option 3. If you guys didn't know, this is my favorite option. My favorite way to multiply fraction. So first, the most obvious number, 7 and 77, we can divide those two numbers with 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 77 divided by 7 is 11. Now it's done. Let's move on. 6 and 8, we can divide those two numbers with 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So, is there any more? No. So we simply multiply across. 3 times 1 is 3, and 11 times 4 is 44. So your final answer is 3 over 44. Now let's say you did option 2, and that's okay, okay? I'm not blaming you if you use option 2 or option 3. It's really up to you. So let's start with 6. 6 is 2 times 3, and 7 is 7. 77, on the other hand, is 7 times 11, and 8 is 2 times 4. Or you can write 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2. In case you didn't know, this is 8, this is 77, and this is 6. Now let's cross out the numbers that appears on the top and the bottom numbers. Here's 7 and 7. They becomes 1. Is there any more? Yes. 2 and 2. Is there any more? No. So we simply multiply across. So we have 3. 11 times 2 is 22 times 2 is 44. So your final answer is 3 over 44. As you can see, same answer. Now I want you guys to try this on your own. I want you guys to pause the video, use either option 2 or option 3, and then we'll do this together. Okay? I want you to pause the video here. Okay. Hopefully you paused the video. I even gave you like a few minutes to pause the video. Now let's try this together. So for option 2, for A, we'll try option 2. So again, we write this as 1. So 23, can we factor 23? No. So we leave it as is, okay? 4 is 2 times 2. How about 32? Well, it's actually, let's do the factor tree. 2, and then this is 16. 16 is 2 and 8, and 8 is 2 and 4. So that means 32 is actually 2 times 2 times 2, and then 4 is 2 times 2. And then 7 is 7, and then let's start crossing out the numbers. 2 and 2's, and there's another 2, and there's another 2. And that's it. Again, these 2's are appearing on both both of all of these two are on the denominator, so we cannot cross them out. One has to be on the top and one has to be in the bottom. None of them, only all of them are in the bottom, so we can't do shit. My bad on that. Now we simply multiply across 23. That's it. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So 8 times 7, anyone? 56. Good job. Now, give yourself a round of applause if you got 23 over 56. It doesn't matter if you did option 2 or option 3, as long as your answer is 23 over 56. Now let's try B. For B, we'll try option 3. 4 times 3, and then 27 times 8. Now, we simply look for common factors. Let's start with the easy one. 4 and 8 can be divided by 4. It's okay if you write 2, but 4 is better. Let's say you did 2 though, okay? This is just a precaution. Suppose you did 2. 2 divided by 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Is there any more? 3 and 27, right? You can divide them with 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 27 divided by 3 is 9. Now the question is there more? I don't know. Now here's the thing. If you say I don't know, then you should listen carefully. The number right here, the one we cross out and we put a new number, is our new numbers, okay? So now let's look at them. 2 and 9, we can divide them with the same number, right? How about 2 and 4? Yes, we can divide them with 2. So we can still divide the numbers even though we cross them out, okay? We can still divide the new numbers. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now, is there any more? No, there's nothing else. So we simply multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1, and 9 times 2 is 18. Now, you might be wondering, will my answer still be the same if I use 4? And the answer is yes. If you use a better common factor, like if you use the GCF, then that's the best one you can use, okay? But just because you didn't use the right common factor doesn't mean your answer is going to be wrong. As long as you keep on finding common factors, in the end your answer is going to be 1 over 18 as shown here. Now let's try something a bit easy. Not really. Multiplying mixed numbers and whole numbers. Now let's recall a few things, okay? We can change any whole number by simply putting the number over 1. So suppose this is a whole number. And this is a fraction. Suppose we want to write 7 as a fraction. How do we do that? Well, we simply put 7 over 1. That's it. We put 7 over 1. How about this? Try this. Can you tell me what is the fraction of 32? It's 32 over 1. If you got 32 over 1, good job. You're pretty great. Now let's expand this. Let's put this in application. What is 2 over 5 times 8? Well, first of all, change whole number to fraction. Okay? So first thing first, change your whole number to fraction. So we have 2 over 5 times 8 over 1. Now, just multiply like you multiply regular fraction. 2 times 8 over on the top, and we have 5 times 1 on the bottom. Now you can use either option 2 or option 3. Here, option 3. Can we divide any numbers with the same number that is on the top and the bottom? No. 2 and 8 we can, but are one of them on the bottom? No. So we can't do anything. So we simply multiply across. 2 times 8 is 16. 5 times 1 is 5. So your final answer is 16 over 5. Now, here we multiply mixed numbers. I keep repeating this though, if for those that have me for online for the last quarter, you should know that when we do mixed numbers, I always want you guys to change mixed numbers to improper fraction first. Let's have an example. 2 and 1 over 5. So how do we change mixed number to improper fraction? Well, you simply multiply the denominator, the bottom number, with the whole number, and then you add your numerator. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, and that is our new numerator. And our denominator is the same. Keep the denominator the same. So let's try some examples. Here we have 2 and 1/2 times 1 over 15, 1 over 5, not 1 over 15. So first thing first, always change your mix to improper. Add, multiply. So let's change them. Let's start with 2 and 1/2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we have 5 over 2 times 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So we have 6, and keep the denominator the same. So we have 5 on the bottom. Now let's multiply. 5 times 6 on the top, and we have 2 times 5 on the bottom. Now you can use option 2 or option 3. For me, I'll prefer option 3. So 5 and 5 can be divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Any more? 6 and 2. We can divide those two numbers with 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now just multiply. 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 1 is 1. So your final answer is 3 over 1 or 3. And that's it for today's lesson. Hopefully you understand the lesson pretty good. If not, then ask questions, and hopefully I'll see them and we'll go over that on the next lesson. Bye.